Hi there, this is Dr. Myrdalis Diaz-Ramirez, and this is the Design Your Physician Life podcast. Welcome to this episode brought to you by our Mastermind, a personal and professional development program for physicians who want to learn entrepreneurship. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a very important topic, which is mastering your mindset. We're going to be discussing principles, choices, and negotiation. Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome to the Design Your Physician Life podcast, where you will get excited about being a physician, learn the tools that can help boost your success, and great tips from successful doctors. Join us to unlock the keys to an amazing physician life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Myrdalis Diaz-Ramirez.
Well, guys, today I have a special treat for you. I'm going to give you one session, what it looks like to be in our mastermind. And in our mastermind, we talk about 6 pillars. Today, we're going to be talking about that pillar that has to do with those things that help us be staying strong as an entrepreneur. Today, we're going to be talking about mastering mindset. We're going to be discussing principles, choices, and negotiation. Those pillars that we have in our mastermind, we have 6 pillars, and we always start with developing your vision when we're starting to one of our sessions in our mastermind. And we go through the mindset, wellness, financial, business, and lifestyle. And even though we've talked about the mindset before, this one we're going to put it in the lifestyle plan because we want to learn to incorporate all of the behaviors needed to make change sustainable. Because yes, you start with the initial levels of your mindset as an entrepreneur, changing from your medical mindset to the business mindset. But eventually, we want to develop those habits that are going to keep us going as an entrepreneur. And that happens during our lifestyle plan. That's where we're going to be developing those habits. So, lifestyle is all about creating habits that stick. The importance of mindset in decision making and time management is I cannot tell you how many books we read that start with this. They start with placing your mind in the right way of thinking, your right philosophy. And that philosophy will be developed depending on the things that you've established as your principles, as your guides in your life, and as your priorities. So this is going to be very personal. When you talk about developing your why and all these things that we talked earlier in our mastermind, it's easier to define your state where you are than where you want to be. And then once you know why you want to do that, it's easy to, okay, how we're going to achieve this, then that becomes easier. But the what we call the worthy challenge becomes when you want to make these things sustainable, because being an entrepreneur is going to be a long life endeavor for many of us, and it's not always roses. We have days, and the other day I saw this in one of our physician groups where they had a graph basically of like hour by hour, where it was these highs and low even throughout just some day in the life of an entrepreneur. And it can be kind of similar to when we're talking about being a physician. I don't know, let's put an example of in the emergency room, where you have your highs and low in the emergency room, going from room to room. So you have similar, excitement as an entrepreneur. So the importance of mindset cannot be, stressed enough, not only in the decision making, but also in the time management and also for sustainability of your business. Personal responsibility is the importance of owning our actions and our outcomes. So, you have to understand that you must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. This is something that Jim Rohn would have said. And if you haven't read actually, it's an audiobook, it's The Ultimate Guide to Jim Rohn, I invite you to check out that book. So, one of the things that happens, with happiness, when we're seeking happiness, and the reason why we're discussing entrepreneurship and how to make it long lasting, is that it gives you the opportunity to have a way of controlling your experience. And if you're in a situation where things are not the way that you want them to be, you can take control through this. In my case, I found entrepreneurship to be the thing that helped me with burnout. So I didn't blame the circumstance itself. It just happened, is what I did with it. I was fortunate to be able to get out of that situation through entrepreneurship and take personal responsibility myself. So I could not change the circumstances. I felt trapped there, but I could change what I did about it. I couldn't change the fact that in my life, at that point, it felt like winter, but I could change my response to that. I could not change, the fact that I had chosen something that was not serving me anymore. But I could change that in a different way, making choices for the future, not for the past. So, regrets. There's no regrets. We just learn and we keep going. So we can change ourselves and we can change our new situation. We can change our future. But that only happens if you are recognizing that this is your responsibility. Why do we struggle at times and don't take action? I have to tell you, I went through this, right? One of the things that happened to me, and we can say that fear, lack of motivation, feeling overwhelmed, or living with non guiding human needs are going to be issues that are we can face at different stages in our life and are going to keep us from taking action. I was feeling overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, when you're burnout, it might be that you don't take the correct actions, right? And you don't have to be at the point of burnout. It can be just, like lack of satisfaction or things just not moving. You're tired. You have already studied so much and done, so much to try to make this particular job situation work for you or life situation, and you thought that it was really gonna work, but it hasn't, and it's like you don't know what else to do. So it might be that you're feeling overwhelmed, which was my case, for some time. Other days, like the Mondays come and you're not motivated. Come on, it was so much fun to have that time off if you did during the weekend or whatever your day off was, and then coming back is like you really want to live in the party mode or in the relaxing mode for a little, or in the family mode for a little bit longer. So you're really not feeling motivated. A big one is fear. We are fearful of the future, and we have spent tons of years already, and a lot of time learning medicine, and we feel comfortable. It might be that we feel comfortable either reading an MRI or opening somebody's brain and taking care of an aneurysm or things like that, but we might not feel comfortable doing something else as simple as starting maybe a YouTube channel or anything in social media scares us, or even maybe facing something like ChatGPT, for example. And that fear can keep us from taking action, thinking that we're not good enough, which nobody is born except ChatGPT these days, right? But people are really not born with all this knowledge immediately and all these skills that we have. And we have to tell you that yes, it's the same for entrepreneurship, but it's not something that cannot be learned. If you were able to do medical school, you can certainly learn all these skills. So it does take some time. The first thing that we want is passion. Then after we have that passion, we certainly want to get some coaching, and then we take into action. So that fear is overcome by really defining your principles, by defining the things that lead you in life, and then getting adequate guidance, either through books, through courses, through coaching, however you want to do that. One other thing that we don't think about necessarily is that we might not take action because we're living with what I call non guiding human needs. And what does this mean? So, depending on who you read, you can have different human needs. The ones I'm going to concentrate on are these 6 human needs. One is love and connection. The other one is certainty, uncertainty, significance, contribution, and growth. And they can be guiding your life in different ways. Usually, when we are going through life, we don't necessarily think about this in a very conscious way, but unconsciously, we might be having our life guided by 2 of these specifically. In my case, historically, it was love and connection, and certainty. What? Love and connection with my family, and then the certainty that I was going to be able to supply for them. And with that certainty, I was exposing myself to an environment that was making, to which I was reacting with a lot of unhappiness. And because of that, I was not able to move out. I was also overwhelmed, and I wanted also to have the certainty that I was going to feed my family without really having to change again my personal situation. It might be that uncertainty is what driving you. Uncertainty is like people who really want to change and like the new things, and they want to experience. I call it like the swiping. You're going swiping through your life, swiping experiences, and that uncertainty of that emotion of exploring something new might be what's guiding you. And then maybe it keeps you from really establishing roots somewhere and really exploring something that can be long lasting. Significance is more when we're talking about what's your, what, let's say, how many likes you've got is a way of seeing significance. What is the meaning of your life to others in the world? And it's more like it can be seen as an example of like not like getting trophies or medals or likes, but really what you mean to others, and having that sense that you're important to other people. Contribution is something that I've decided to adopt in my life rather than being certain. I don't want to live with uncertainty. I like to have the certainty that I'm going to feed my family, but rather than living with that certainty, I've had to get out of that cushion and then work more with contribution, with giving to others, which is what I'm trying to do, because I feel like, for example, when I was so overwhelmed and so burnout, I felt like I needed that guidance, and now I can share that with others. So by sharing that, contributing that, I know that we're going to have good doctors taking care of us in the future. So that's why I've been now focusing my life more, still with the love of connection of my family, still having some certainty that I'm going to be producing, being able to maintain them, but really making it bigger in my life to have some of that contribution. By having that contribution, then in my life, being taking a higher or bigger space, living my life, then I've been able to take action. Some others will talk about growth, and talking about growth, for example, is like some people, if you want to compare this in some religions where you reach enlightenment, right? You keep growing until you're enlightened. That's the way of seeing it. And then some people are moved in their lives by that. Some people are moved by growing in, just from an entrepreneurship point of view, maybe financially, maybe about with all the knowledge that they've acquired, and maybe growing their network, for example. And that can be very important. So these are needs that we have in our lives, and you can have the choice of which one of these needs you're going to allow to guide your life. And remember, this is not something that we have thought consciously historically, but now that you think about this, then you can choose, what do I need in my life that is going to go along my principles that I've established, the things that I want for my life that are going to then allow me to take action. So I hope that you can choose some of these needs in a great way. I have here a summary. So for the human needs, the certainty is the assurance that you can avoid pain and gain pleasure. So if you're guided by certainty, obviously you don't want any pain. So you're gonna be trying to play it really safe if you can. And unfortunately, you can live in pain when you're trying not to change things, but at the same time when you're trying to avoid pain. And I can tell you that was my experience. Uncertainty and variety is the need for the unknown, the change, the new stimuli. And many people are changing jobs, like every 2 years, they're changing jobs when they're not physicians. Some others, they like the experience, they change places, new friends, new people to relate to. Significance is feeling unique, important, is feeling special or needed. Connection, love is a strong feeling of closeness or union with someone or something. And for most human beings, this is one of the two guiding principles, I must say. Growth is an expansion of capacity and the capability or understanding, growing in, expansion of those items. And contribution is a sense of service and focus on helping, is giving to and supporting others. So think about these six needs and think about which two do you think would dominate in your life? These are things that you can choose consciously now that you know about it, and then they would help you, hopefully, to take action. There's an exercise moving forward a little bit when we want to find our why, right? Find our reason to be. And there's an exercise looking for the root cause to solve a problem. And this was originally developed by Sakichi Toyoda and was used in the Toyota Motor Corporation during the evolution of its manufacturing methodologies. And the premise is to ask why 5 times when you're faced with a problem. And we're going to go over an exercise that they did. And then I want you to think how you could incorporate this into your life. And then we're going to try to do a little bit of that as well. So by the fifth time that you ask why, then you should hopefully be at the root cause of your problem. Some people will tell you, finding your why in your life, why do you want that job? Why do you want to stay there? Why do you want to change this or not change something? And when we're talking about taking action, it's important that we have tools to use that will allow us to, choose the route. Choose the route when you're taking action, going either plan A or plan B or the journey in this road or that other road. And having this exercise will help you really, if you face a problem, if you face a decision, it's going to allow you to really make a choice. So remember that we're talking here about mindset for long term. The first one is, with the problems with finding the ways to take action. And then now we're talking about choices. And then to make choices, this is a great tool that can help you when you're facing a problem. So let's see what they were doing at the Toyota Motor Company. So the first question, if they had a car that was breaking down, and we're going to go obviously about some specific problem that this car was having, they are going to say in this case was because the alternator is not functioning. And then they go, okay, well, why is the alternator not functioning? That's the second why. And they say, well, because the alternator belt has broken. And then they go to the third why, say, why did the alternator belt break? Because it was well beyond its useful service life and not replaced. Fourth question, why was it not replaced? Because the vehicle was not maintained according to the recommended service schedule. And number 5, why was it not maintained according to the recommended service schedule? Because the owner was not aware of the importance of regular vehicle maintenance. So in this case, you can imagine that if you have somebody complaining to a company, telling them, something happened to my car. I really don't know what happened. This is my warranty, and I want this to be taken care of. And then you say, you know what, but you should have taken care of that belt. But then you find out that in your systems, you don't have a way where the owner will really easily be aware that that belt needs to be changed, that maintenance needs to be done. Then it's a problem with your process, which is what they're trying to get, to the root cause of this. So why didn't the owner of that car change when Toyota thought that they would have changed that? Is because Toyota didn't have it in the systems to make it easy for the person to have access to that information. So was Toyota responsible because they didn't do the maintenance? Then we can say with this particular exercise, most likely yet. And then you say, why are we talking about vehicles? Well, you know what? This type of exercise will help us make decisions in our life as well. So, for example, let's go and explore a series of whys for your life. And we did have an exercise like this in our clinic. Not in our mastermind. In our mastermind, we have one of the doctors come and saying that they came to our mastermind looking for options for businesses. They really wanted to go and open their own clinic. And during the mastermind, they found out that they really would rather, for the moment, explore ways of staying at their current job and then eventually open their clinic, but not right away. So we go through the series of whys with them and we say, okay, so why do you want to? Then you have discovered through this whole mastermind, you have discovered that you want to open your own clinic, but not quite yet. And then we go through the series of why. So he says, well, because I want to have time to develop my strength in this field. You say, why do you want to do that? Because I want to have a this type of job before I open my clinic. And then the type of job that they were talking about was a consulting job. And then, so we go, why do you want to have that type of consulting job? Well, because I think that job is going to give me a name in the community where my colleagues and my patients are going to recognize me. And then it's going to also give me some extra money before I start to open my own clinic. Like, and why would you look like to do that? And then we go through the series of whys, and then we eventually get to the point where we discover also some fears of starting their own clinic, yet some financial fears. We discovered some process fears in that series of answers, and then we had something that we could work with so that we could guide this particular physician through their choices, and then we had something concrete. So this exercise of the whys really helped us define what this physician was going to do in their entrepreneurial journey. So I invite you to explore this exercise for your life when you're making a choice in your career. Then let's move on then from, we talked about the principles that are guiding our life. We talked about choices. Then let's now talk about how we're going to make these negotiations with ourselves. When you're establishing habits for your life, you have also already, first of all, as I said, talked about your principles in your life. And there are going to be some concepts that we can gather from different books that are not necessarily directly meant to deal with this type, but give us great lessons. This type of decision would really give us great lessons. So I want to apply, in this case, from this book, Never Split the Difference from Chris Voss, but negotiating with yourself. When you're really not wanting to take action, when you're really wanting to make the right decision, when you're really trying to do the right thing for yourself, I found that you can kind of use these particular concepts from Chris Voss. And who's Chris Voss? So Chris Voss was a negotiator. He has been brought to many scenes where somebody has been kidnapped, or there has been some negotiation between huge companies, just reading body language, or telling somebody how to change their mind in something in particular. And he's gone throughout the world and telling the people through this book, like, never split the difference in negotiation, and how you're going to be more successful in life when negotiating with others. But I want you to learn from this how to negotiate with yourself. So he talks about different techniques in his teachings, and one of the techniques that he talks about is mirroring. And this is a negotiation technique that involves repeating the last few words your counterpart has said. This encourages the other person to continue talking and provides you with more information, which can be used to steer the negotiation in your favor. And you're going to say, but Myrdalis, I'm going to be talking to myself, and I'm going to tell you, yes, we're going to be exploring that through this exercise, and not thinking that you're, crazy. We do have a voice in our heads that's really connected through what we do during the day and night. There's actually a different book that's called Chatter from Ethan Kross, Kross. And he talks about this voice in our head and how we can control it. And this is a way where I've found that we can make decisions and getting more information. It actually helps you with some due diligence to do, repeating things when you're making a choice. And it will help you to ask more questions. It will help you find out if you have all the information that you need to make that decision. So if you do mirroring to yourself, just repeating the last few words, what you've said you're going to do, then you can ask again. You can ask another question. It's like, do I have all the information? And then you can say, okay, I can go this way, or I can go way A or way B, or this pathway or that pathway. And then by doing that, you can find the answer within yourself. And also is obviously a way of practicing. So when you're negotiating with others, then you can be successful as well. So I invite you to try mirroring. Labeling is a different technique. It's a technique that involves acknowledging the other person's feelings and perspectives. And then by doing this, you can build rapport and trust and make the other person feel understood. So when you're trying to make a choice, trying to make, something that's action, and we talked about Mondays being a dreadful Monday that you're coming to work and you really don't want to do that. We're going to be not only acknowledging those things that are for others, but also things about us, self-compassion too comes. So we have to acknowledge feelings. It turns out that when we're talking about a particular situation, and I'm going to talk to you about a particular one in shortly, if we talk to ourselves as we're talking or referring to like a friend, we're going to have more compassion. And this also is something that you can see, like labeling from Mr. Boss, and this compassion that comes from the book from Ethan Kross when you're trying to make a decision. And then you're going to be trying to negotiate with yourself right there. So building the rapport and trust and really building compassion with yourself. So for example, if you're in a situation, okay, it's Monday, right? Monday, and you don't want to go to work, and you're there just trying to talk to yourself through this thing. And then you can go and talk about the feelings to yourself and perspectives. What would happen, if you go or if you don't go? And then what would happen if your Mondays stay all the same? Are you going to be happy with these Mondays? Do you want to change these Mondays? Do you want to wake up and see what you see when you wake up? Do you want to go to work and earn this money the same way that you're earning the money? Or do you want those things to change, right? And then you talk to yourself like, yes, I want to do it that way. I don't want anything to change. Or yes, I want something to change. And then you start to understand it. And then you say, okay, Myrdalis, is this a way that you want to live the rest of your life or not? Because right now it seems to me that every Monday you go there, you wake up and you're really unhappy in that situation. Is this the way that you want to wake up the next Mondays in the next year? And then you say, you know what? No, that's not the way I would like to do that. And then that creates some compassion to you. You're labeling the situation, you're defining the feelings and perspectives, not only if you're negotiating with somebody else, but you're also negotiating with yourself and making the best decisions for yourself and then taking action. As I said, in my case, it came the time like I decided not to live under certain circumstances any longer. And by talking to me as I would talk to a friend, as I would talk to somebody who I want to build rapport and trust with, then I developed more compassion for myself, and I was able to make a decision that actually took me to a place that I have felt that is much better. And that's something that you can bring to different situations in your life time after time, and then see if it helps you in staying in track in your entrepreneurship journey. Another way of negotiating that boss utilizes is the "that's right" breakthrough. So boss emphasizes the power of getting your counterpart to say "that's right." This shows that they feel understood and they're more likely to cooperate with you. This technique involves summarizing the other person's point of view so accurately that they respond with "that's right." So, once again, let's go and talk to yourself. And then you say, you know what? Myrdalis, once again, talking to myself. Um, do you really want to earn money that same way that you're earning money right now? Like, no, that's not what I want to do. Wouldn't you prefer to earn money where your feelings are in this on this particular way and where you can handle you can be in control of the your experience, the physician's, the patient's experience and the employee's experience, and you say, you know what, that's right. That's right. And then you know that you've made a great decision. And the same way you can use not only to negotiate with yourself, as I said, but obviously this was created to negotiate with others. But I'm bringing it so that you can really use these techniques for your benefit and make the right decision. And as an entrepreneur, stay there fighting the fight so that you get all the things, your dreams, have them come true, and be able to get to sustainability of your business. So, you'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. That was John C. Maxwell. I hope that you've learned something today. If you have any questions, just send us a message through Instagram, through LinkedIn. Check our other resources that we have and let us know what you want to learn more about. These exercises have been great for our members in trying to understand their next steps in their entrepreneurial journey, and I hope that they help you as well. Have a wonderful day. It's been a pleasure to be here with you today. Thanks. Bye. Well, guys, that was it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this session. It was a special gift from us to you. Please visit our website, maxallure.com, MAXALLURE, and sign up for this podcast, Design Your Physician Life. You can also visit our YouTube page, which is Max Allure Mastermind. And there we have not only all the podcast episodes, but we also have our Friday live sessions with most of our guests. We'll see you then. Have a great week.
Please remember that Design is not providing specific financial, medical, or career advice. Our only intent is to stimulate your appetite for growth by sharing our experience and those of our speakers, coaches, and guests. Your personal growth and success will be unique to your circumstances and your hard work. We sincerely hope you enjoyed the show and look forward to seeing you next week.